topics on the market. Okay, so this channel resource has got one clip called something on randomness. It ends up in entropy and stuff like that. But in that particular clip, we asked, we all kind of intuitively understand what is a random process. You throw a die, you get a 1 to 6 any number, and there is a 1 by 6 chance that one of those numbers will fall. But he says if we know all the initial conditions, the way the die is, the surface is going to fall on, if we know at what force we are doing it, can't we calculate where it will land? Now, as engineers, you would think yes. And the answer is probably true. We don't really know what all information we need, that's the problem. But suppose we had all the information, suppose we had everything needed, then where it will land will be known. Now, the stock market stock price, and if you can assume that it's a normal distribution, then you will come up with something that looks like a probability distribution where you would say there is a 1 sigma, there will be a 66% chance for the percentage to be within a certain price and certain price, 2 sigma to be within a certain range, 3 sigma within a certain range. And if any of you later study finance, you will find that those kind of studies are pretty common and they have been used. They have been used by funds, for example, to make certain calculations. So it is not alien to you see such a item, but the problem still remains that the percentage return, you can calculate some probabilities here. So I mentioned all this 3 sigma stuff. But the point here, the only point here, is that the percentage return later on is random, you cannot predict it. It will go up, it will go down. It could be roughly normal, but it's not really normal. So there is a lot of unpredictability with what happens in future prices. Now this unpredictability is not properly understood. So these are the two big concepts. One is that invest for the long term, and we understand that the percentage return on a stock market price cannot be predicted. Why I emphasize the second one is you will encounter a lot of material which talks about the future returns being predictable. And one of the main reasons this happens is that the greatest beneficiaries of the stock market are the biggest beneficiaries are probably brokers or broking institutions. I'm using a dollar symbol because it's sort of easier to draw. So this goes to industry. This goes to investors. This goes to long-term investors are the ones who make money, and a lot of industry, which we'll talk about now, also makes money on the market. The curious thing is that the money that's made by longer-term investors, if the longer-term investors make more money, there is no benefit at all for the industry. So they are not particularly fond of long-term investors. Okay, why is this? Let's take the case of brokers. Who's a broker? A broker is no longer really an individual. Broker is your HDFC Bank or Kotak Bank, any of those banks. Or you have Goldman Sachs, they have broking outfits. All the biggest wealth institutions, extremely rich and big institutions, they want you to basically be in the stock market. Now let's elaborate on be in the stock market. If you are a long-term investor, they won't like you very much. And they won't say they don't like you, but if you're just buying a little bit of stock once a month, they're not going to earn very much from you. They don't have what is called skin in the game. This is again a Thalib expression which is common, right, in physics. I quoted him 2-3 times because he comes up with more colorful expressions than most others. But they have no particular interest in getting a long-term return in most of their products. Certainly not broking from your activities. So what everybody wants you to do is to trade, speculate. So that is why speculation trading is so popular, because it's always talked about. Whoever you're dealing with, you will soon have a relationship manager from your bank. They will keep telling you that, why don't you do this, why don't you do this on the market. They see you're hooked, then they will start calling you up every morning saying, we've got excellent information that Tata Motors is going to shoot out in the next month. Would you like to buy some stock? So you say, why not? I mean, they'll sound very happy and interesting. It's not like that they are cheating you. They're not deliberate liars. There is actually a well-built hierarchy within the companies, which they are all themselves convinced that that is what is happening. So, anyone who collects brokerage from you wants you to trade very often. They like engineers, because engineers will try out new algorithms, new formulas, do something. They'll say, it becomes quite a selling job. They'll say, wow, the other day, see, this is going to happen to all of you. You think some stock not buy, then it will shoot up. Since the broker talks to you all the time, he's a friend of yours. You will mention to him that, I was thinking of buying, let's say, United Spirits the other day, but I didn't buy it. And 5 days later, United Spirits shoots up. You didn't buy it. The broker remembers you had said it. He says, sir, you're so right. You're really good, most of my clients would have thought of it. So with that kind of enforcement, which anybody is too happy to receive, you will slowly but surely, it's not difficult to find yourself trading very often on the market. So this is a big lookout. You may trade for other reasons. We'll come to cover why you might want to trade. Especially if you're on the other side, you may want to trade for clients. That's a different story. But as an investor, you don't want to really get into too much of the short-term trading. If you want to short-term trade for the fun of it, a little gamble, say instead of horses, the stock market is better. Fine, by all means do it, but very small amounts of money. The main investment fund of yours, keep that intact. Okay, who else benefits from this apart from brokerage? There's a very obvious one, the elephant in the house, so to speak, and that is media. We have 4 business channels. The US has many business channels. We have newspapers dedicated to business. So why would business channels be interested in your being a short-term trader? Because they want you to watch the channel every day. What's the hot tip for today? So every day you'll have frenzied activity from the anchors who will all communicate with each other. Did you see that news item about that stock? Now let's call up Mr. X, Y, and Z and see what he feels about the stock. So you feel the excitement, palpable excitement, get into the market. But I'm not anyone saying for a second, because these are all people I work with, and both media and brokers and all that are very good friends in there. They don't have any evil intention to get you. It's not like a conspiracy or something they're out to get you. But that is just the way the whole thing works. And it is not very different from anything else in the world. So let's also put it in a fair perspective. I'm not damning these industries. For example, you could say about the pharmaceutical industry, this is what somebody said, that they are not so much interested in curing you as having you as a customer. So it doesn't mean the doctors are evil. There's nobody in the world who's evil. But we are all sort of caught in a particular performance situation where we do things because it's our duty or our job to do it, we get rewarded for it. We don't really think too much about the ethics. Ethics is a very, very tricky subject in this world. It's something that one shouldn't really be condemning anybody too much or going out of the way to do it. It's better to just realize that's the way the world works. And it applies very much to the stock market. So this again is not a lecture on ethics. Why I'm mentioning this is that there are a lot of people who are inadvertently or whatever to do their jobs. And there will be a lot of noise out there which is basically trying to get you to trade short term. They don't want you to do the simple thing which will make you a lot of money, which is to just put a bit of personality away every month. Realizing that randomness prevents you from making the mistake of trying to predict the market. Predicting the market is always easy in the past. But you can always see a past even if you say, oh yeah, that was obvious, this was about to happen, the market is about to go up. But you can certainly never do it in the future. As of today, nobody really knows what will happen to the Indian stock market. When we all know that conditions are better than they've been in the last 3-4 years. But the market has also gone up quite a lot. So this could go on, it may not go on. But putting away a little bit of money every month ensures that you don't get suddenly caught onto the wrong foot because you're just putting in money incrementally. And most of the money that goes in the market at any month of time, if you look at past data, you will find us positive returns. It is only when there is a big stock market crash or something that that money goes down. So what you are basically doing is the power of averaging. By putting in a little bit of money every month, you don't really know which day of the month is the best day for you to get higher returns. You can analyze past data, you will get some number. It's certain because data is like that. You will find, you can put stuff on a spreadsheet, write a code or something, and you will say, okay, looking at all my past data, if I was putting money on the 7th of the month, I would have got the highest return. This will happen because there is such a number out there. It doesn't mean that it's meaningful. And this leads us to the big fallacy of the stock market that you should always think about. Let me make sure I get the expression right. Yeah. Go stock, go after top. Will they still have, of course, a logic symbolic by it used to be in our time. I don't know if this particular expression was mentioned by name, but this is the fallacy which you will know about very much in being English terms, which is causation is not correlation, or correlation is not causation. Back to the book by again by Haller, Fooled by Randomness. That's a brilliant read for many reasons, not even related to the market, because it gives you the thinking which has gone into the human race. The best sort of example I can think of this is malaria. Malaria was one time believed to take place if you went out at night. Because people used to go out at night and get bitten by mosquitoes. So until it was found out what the cause was, it was thought to be a disease related to going out at night. So that is where you got this fallacy. The night had nothing to do with it. But because people who they found out by observing data, people were the data, they came to this conclusion, and for many years it was believed that malaria was caused by the night. So people would stay indoors to not get malaria. And that had better effects also because they didn't get bitten by mosquitoes. So that enforced the fallacy even more. So this is a fallacy that exists all the time in life. If you think about it, you'll find many, many examples. If you pick up any newspaper, read the front page, you'll find at least 3 of these on the front page. Sports pages. Sports is enormously full of this. If you look at all the composition of the Indian cricket team, it's always been constantly blamed on one or the other. The bowler, the batsman, the captain, the umpire. There's always some blame, causation and correlation again is the issue there. And not the observation of the fact that how many runs the batsman scores is as random as the return on the stock market price. So, there are many things in life where we simply do not accept randomness. We think there has to be a reason. So, just removal of that thought process helps in many ways. And is absolutely critical in the stock market to remove it, because then you'll be able to make much simpler and more accurate decisions. Okay, I should also quickly mention, to get it out of the way, that many of you will be involved with the stock market not as investors, but in many other areas because they're very highly rewarding. Especially with engineering skills, because there's a whole area of quantitative finance. People who are into finance and computers, they can get a lot of money in the stock market. Stats is a huge tool. I mean, if you're looking for jobs with Goldman, one of the highest paying people in the world, I suppose. Sound knowledge of some stock market theories, more of the normal distribution type, not the mumbo jumbo things. Knowledge of stats, knowledge of coding, how to put together maybe a Fourier transform here or there to predict prices. That gets you very high paying jobs. So, but why do they do that? It's basically you will then produce reports. Excellent reports which can be sent to clients, and that's what they pay. Most of the brokerages are very high reading, but they keep the clients glued to that particular particular institution and then get them to trade as often as possible in order to get their brokerage. That's also a cycle. But that kind of work is not bad because you get to exercise a lot of, of your computing power, your budget, you find something new. And a lot of things in the market work for a short while. There's like persistence. I won't get into that part of it. If you read Mandelbrot, you'll find a lot of material he's written on the predictive. It's sort of predictive. Finding something is working for a while. It could continue working for a little while more. You can't say how long. So there is a little bit of an energy going up from that simple investment formula. Whatever else you do, just make sure you do the investment part. Question is, all I've said is put some money away in the market every month. Now, what does this mean? What do you do exactly? Combining a lot of ideas given by various people, I'll give you 4 or 5 book references to read, which are fairly same sound books, and you can understand them quite easily and be able to follow those ideas. But combining 2 or 3 things, simple common sense thing to do is to identify 8 or 10 really good companies which you understand. That means you'll have to take a little bit of pain to find out what these stocks are. Now, there are a lot of stocks out there in 2000. You can't really be expected to think about 2000 stocks. So you can take something, one of the common indices like the Sensex or the Nifty. There are then only 30, take the Nifty or 50 stocks. From that, there are some names which are obvious, companies that you have dealt with, like a bank, where you know the services are going. You can just see their balance sheet, see if you don't have very bad debt. There are many ways of finding out whether a company is good or bad. And the one term you will come across if you get into more research is value. So you can think of it this way. There are one sort of logical way to approach whether to buy a stock or not. The best books on finding valuations. You can read any of his works. Graham is the one who's followed by most investors who make huge amounts of money in the market, including Warren Buffett himself. So he has got simple ways of valuing the company. One that you might be familiar with because it's mentioned, and you find that the value of the company is much higher than the price of the company. Say about the price of the company is 25% less than the value of the company. And it's a good, and it probably is because since a lot of people follow valuation, the big money in the world is actually looking more at valuation than any other parameter. Those stocks are unlikely to be hammered down very much because there will be buyers every time they decline. So in the real world, that is why probably you are protected. I say probably because with so many participants in the market and so many events driving the market, it is next to impossible to actually say why anything happens. This causation correlation thing applies. You can never be sure what is really the cause behind anything. Another instrument of interest, especially if some of you will go to the US, what's very popular in the US are exchange traded funds, ETFs. These have arrived in India. They are not that liquid yet, but they are picking up. What these funds are is they are a little bit better than mutual funds because the people who run these are the people who are behind it. They keep trying to keep the actual fund, that means the stock, and they have a particular algorithm they are working with. So it's repetitive and simple, so it's much less expensive for them to run. As a result, these ETFs will cost much less than a mutual fund. So when you're saving about 1 or 2% a year in costs, compounded over 8 to 10 years, the difference can be significant. So if you feel that you really don't want to get into the market in finding out 10, 15 stocks for yourself, you just want to have some representation of the market, then ETFs is a pretty good instrument to have. The commonest one in India so far is the Nifty ETF. And these exchange traded funds can be pretty. Right, so the steps that you should be following now are to pick your 8 to 10 stocks. They should be across industries. The company, they tried to quietly move it out into the director's name, but it got caught in the AGM, where one of the investors had noticed the small notice that had been given in the paper saying, how can you do this? And they quickly changed their plans. They said it was a mistake. Misquoted. That's the usual explanation. So good management is important. The less of a family-owned business, I shouldn't make this generalization, but it's about 80-90%. So family-run businesses, just inherited businesses not run by themselves, especially in India, don't necessarily work out that way. But there are many family-owned businesses where one of the family members has taken much more interest in it and turned around one company or two. So you do have those exceptions. It's not like the rule. Companies like, say, HDFC Bank is generally regarded as a pretty good stock. People will want to know what's a good stock to buy. HDFC Bank is one of them. Its valuation is not as bad compared to the price as many other stocks are. It's not overflowing with debt. If the economy improves, banks are bound to do well. So all that sort of thing fits in. So those are the kind of blue chips you look for in this investment idea. So the idea is, again, to sum it up, you pick up your 8 or 10 stocks, any number you can manage. The number is not significantly important, but having close to 10 or above is better, because if one or two stocks do poorly, it's not going to affect your overall average. You're essentially playing averages. So that is the first part, again, the investment part we talked about. And the second part is understanding the randomness of things. So don't overthink and try to figure out where the market will go. If somebody asks me what is the, where will the index be, I can give you any number, but it's rather pointless. Because where it actually goes will be, as I use as an example, if you ask 20 experts where the index will be at the end of this year, you will get 20 different answers, which means that 19 of them at least are going to be wrong. So that pretty much tells you the value of predictions. Right, I think it's 15 minutes to go, so questions and answers if anybody has any.
I'll come up with moderate.
So we'll take the questions, and I'm requesting somebody to get some water for them. So, okay. Heavy water there. Heavy water. It's you. Seafood. So, any quick questions? Yeah.
पहले नाम बताओ.
नाम बताओ. कौन से डिपार्टमेंट है? फिजिक्स.
Okay, basically, I guess that's a very good question. One way of looking at it is the price is equal to the value. That's noise. The noise is the stock market. The entire business of movements up and down is a noise part. What the noise will do for you is that at points of time, not all the time, it will bring down the price much below the value. So that is the moment you want to grab. That is what the so-called value investors, the Benjamin Grahams, the Warren Buffetts, they just wait patiently. What I'm actually suggesting to you is for slightly more inactive investors, that is, you just buy every month and say, if you're really in the market, you should try value investing, which is to monitor stocks. Keep very good tabs of the company, to identify 10, 15 companies you're monitoring all the time. But that's fairly time consuming. If you get into that, you'll discover it anyway. But if you want to get into valuation, that's what you need to do. And then what you will be doing is basically buying the stock when the valuation is very attractive. I think one benchmark that is used is 20 to 25% below the price. You use any valuation formula, the ones that are given by Graham are good. You find the valuation, you find it's 25% below the price, you go buy the stock. This is the idea. One other thing that will happen with value investing is when the markets are shooting up, these value investment stocks don't do as well as the really speculative stocks. They do well when the market is falling, because that's when they outperform. And overall,
That is valuation. And the great what you get from the instructor is price. This is physics.
Chill out.
So, since you are saying that even the stock market can go down.
it does.
So, I wanted to ask you, what's the proportion of us that we should keep
5-10% in stocks. The rest is, up to you to decide. The one way of looking at it is that when things are not really overvalued. What is overvalued is a question again. But let's say, if you use some idea of value, this valuation by the way is a very, very hypothetical thing here. Everybody will have a different valuation formula. One person will have a different valuation in the stock, the other one will have. It is just to work with some benchmark. As I said, it's not physics, so you have to have some benchmark to make decisions. That's why we're doing this. But let's say that one common benchmark people use for valuation is the price-earning ratio. Right now it is about 21, 22, I think. When it gets to about 30, then that's really high. Then you could think of maybe having more fixed deposits and fixed income. But the trouble with them is they're not going to be giving you more returns than inflation. So that should be more of a temporary thing in times of huge overvaluation. I should also add real estate as an investment. There were huge jumps in real estate prices in India and a lot of people made a lot of money, but this may not last forever. Maybe now probably more like European or US markets. The discovery has taken place. So if you are investing in real estate, you really have to go and find some very, very cheap land somewhere less than 10 lakhs. That is always a wonderful investment because your own house is a good thing to have. So that's one unanswered question.
Okay.
Next. Somebody who is not very keen to monitor the stock market.
Yeah.
Which is better for him, to find 10 companies or to invest in ETF and sit and relax?
If you can find 10 companies, great. Otherwise, find ETFs, sit down, relax. Yes.
ETF is sure to be benefit in the long term.
There's nothing sure in the market. But in the very long term, you're looking at 10-15 years. In that 10-15 years, you can expect 1 or 2 considerable backs, which means 1 or 2 years with negative returns, high negative returns. What's going to be happening is that across a 10-15 year period, it will go through these major ups and downs, and it will eventually work out okay. So if you want to be really passive, ETFs are a pretty good instrument. India, the liquidity is still a bit of a problem. You don't want a situation where they say that, okay, we're not making enough out of the ETF, we're going to close it down and things. Whereas in the US, they're very active. In fact, in the US, it's a source of money because there's too much money in ETFs. So US causes the most worries in terms of financial markets because there's too much money there. So just for the sheer volume, it swaps everybody.
Yeah, I just want to comment before I go. So there is physics in this. You take Dirac beta function. You integrate over a period of time, it makes sense. That's what we said. Just wait for 40 years. This physics.
That's very well put. I think I'm going to use that line also.
Now the
talking about incremental investment going on for a long term period. So like you said, you can invest every month. And I guess that's with the assumption that you are going to invest as part of your salary. Now, going on with that assumption, so if I try to increase or decrease the step size of investment, say I want to invest a particular type of money, but I want to break it into steps. So like you said, every month. So if I
What kind of size?
step size of the time, how will the overall investment increase?
Then you won't get the average integration that you're looking for, because you're changing the equation every few.
I'm talking about rather than investing every month, if I would invest every 2 months or I invest every 15 days, which will be better.
Oh, like that, okay. Any regular investment. I use 1 month because you get salary once a month. But if you're self-employed, your salary distribution may not be monthly. So then in that case you can think, as regular as possible, you get a better averaging effect. You can get of course, you can get very lucky and because of random investing, you get a jackpot. But usually you don't count on that. It's always been volatile. The volatility itself is volatile. They'll explain that as a reason. So the typical answer would be it's very volatile right now because a lot of central bank governors have changed interest rates. Answer. But at the end, the volatility, etc., is determined by market participants, which in terms of mathematical equations, you may as well think of as infinity. And each having some incremental effect, and the integrated effect is what you see. So the best way to think about volatility happens, and volatility itself goes up and down. Searching for a reason is completely useless. Serves no purpose. well, that's again the question. See, everything affects every market. It's the analogy of a butterfly sneezes in Brazil, could it cause a tornado in Chicago? The answer is yes, it could. So there is always some effect, but it's immeasurable, it's random, it is not something you can work with or use to advantage.
Yeah, there was a question. Yeah. Then उसके बाद
So if I don't want to be a long-term investor,
If you don't want to be a long-term investor, then
not a short भी वाला, तो I just want कि अगर मान लीजिए मेरे पास कोई स्टॉक है उसकी प्राइस हाई जा रही है and it's going high, तो मैं कब तक वेट करूँ या फिर उसको मतलब उस कंडीशन में
I think the requirement before answering any question is our growth requirement.
economics.
By the way, for most of my Bhaiya loans, there is a 5-year MSc in economics, which was started a few years ago. If you are not aware of it, MSc is integrated MSc. You are integrated MSc, right?
No, BS, 4-year BS.
And I know as them now, because I have forgotten that BS, but BS is not recognized, so many degrees are recognized.
So you are basically saying that you want to get into stocks when they are undervalued or get out when they are overvalued. That is what value investors do. But the overall idea in being invested is to not get out of the stock at all. The principle of value investing is to basically, you think of yourself as buying that company. When you buy a share, you are actually buying the company and you are owning the business. So if you are owning a business, you don't really think about selling it at all. So what you could do if you have a really long-term portfolio is that when the valuations are extremely high, maybe book a little bit of your profit. Don't sell off everything. Say you reduce your portfolio exposure by 5-10% by equally selling all the stocks you have and just generating a little bit of money from that, which you could think of buying a house at that time or just putting FDs. Okay, that's a very good question. He's saying why does the stock market beat inflation? Okay, the reason is actually very logical, but I'm doing it in a sort of a model way, not in a risk cost that is incurred. If the growth goes up at the inflation rate, the earnings also go up by inflation rate.
आप ले लो ना ले सकते कुछ दिक्कत नहीं तुम आ गया आखिर है चलिए बड़े ना छोटे ना दो डाल देना चाय
And that's what the good institute does. It requires amazing people. Some of the best people I heard in IT company, people who are from the left, people who are from the right. That is, I might be ideologically opposed to them, but IT had the grace to invite them. In 1972, I heard the person, his name was Gopal. The 70s were very, very different times. That's the time when there was the inflation in the world. There was a political turmoil the world over, students out the streets of Paris, defying authority. That's when the Naxal movement had taken roots in India. As a matter of fact, in 1-5, there was Shopal Lehri, who was just opposite my room. And that's the time when the environmental movement had taken birth, the feminist movement. And whenever there is a political churning of society, it releases a lot of social energy. There were scientists who were asking very basic questions. Should we participate in war research? Should we make missiles? We can't do good to humanity. Can we kill people? These are very moral, deeply ethical questions. The 70s was go to the people, live with them, love them, start with what they know, remember what happened. So I heard in L2 and in Satgopal, the PhD from Calcutta, you see a migration there from the US to India, because the Indian economy is booming. But there was a migration 40 years ago. Some of our best people who had made a mark in the US decided to return back to India and work in their countries. Anand Satgopal was one of them, a PhD from Calcutta. He worked with Kuwait City. Kuwait City, simple stuff. Because what the British have done after 200 years is left behind a colonial, a gulam dimag. हम अपनी असलियत को बच्चे देखते हैं जो कुछ विदेश से आता है वो बहुत है क्योंकि गुलाम दिमाग है तो जब तक आपको गुलाम दिमाग है आप कुछ और करेंगे किसी एमएनसी के साथ काम करेंगे पढ़ा करेंगे और कोई मौलिक काम गुलाम तो वो देखा कि 5 साल हम काम करेंगे पहली बार आजादी के बाद में हम देखेंगे कि हमारे गांव के अंदर व्हाट इज देयर एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट वी ट्राई टू एक्सपेंड I heard this lecture in 72, which made a very deep impact on me. I joined Tata Motors in 75, worked there for 2 years. The training was excellent. It is the best training of any engineer can get. And I was a tinkerer, 3 months working with the lathe, with the shaper machine, doing electrical welding, gas welding. That excited me very much. But after 2 years, it became boring. It was a day-to-day management is only interested in others. So I said I was not born to make trucks. But I remembered and this is what this institute did. So I took a year off to Telco and went on to this stage. It is far and beyond. No bazaars, this is a local heart. Every Friday people spread their wares on the ground and they buy and sell whatever they can. And what I found was this big cycle balcony. I said that, usually villagers, small mirrors, there'll be baggers, small trinkets. So I said, I'm going to buy one set of every day. Because this is my one. And the challenge lies in trying to see what are the possibilities of doing fun science using very simple mechanics. So that's time when I was getting my bicycle inflated. You could probably recognize this snake like rubber, very thin. This is the bicycle balance. When you pump it in a bicycle, use a small piece. Again, a छोटा सा कट गया, like 5 rupees, 1 rupee. But this is sold by weight. You can buy 100 gram packet of this still for 25 rupees, which is 50 rupees. And I have very fidgety fingers. So just within 1 or 2 days, but if you take 2 small matchsticks, remove the sun from both the ends. Now these matchsticks are very snugly and will get off. And what you make is a very nice flexible tool. You like this and stop the moment, so to say. If I just pull this out, this is a tiny pipe, you will push this with a parallelogram, but this like an amoeba which is constantly taking time. It's a very, very unstable thing. If you look at the square, for instance, it may look very square and very prim. If you little push, it becomes a round. But if you but if you inspect a triangle, no matter what you do, you can't go think. A triangle remains fine. And this is the bedrock of all civil engineering mechanical engineering. If you wish to make any structure rigid, you put it wires. And imagine children actually holding the concept in their own hands. That this is motivation. And then they realize if you look at any village house, if you look at the roof of any village house, it's a pitched roof. It's a sloping roof like that. You never make a roof truss like this. Because you put tiles on top of this, you don't make you never make a bridge with a square. come, it would start with it. This joint of two, which I made earlier, just poke a hole and push a curve and make the teeth. There is no glue, there is no film. You just poke a hole and push the curve ballastic. And if you were to take this tripod and insert all the three vertices, triangle, what you make is a very, very beautiful diagram. It's a 3D figure now. It's made entirely of triangle. You just see the triangle is the most rigid polygon. And it's a 3D structure which is composed entirely of triangle. Tetrahedron actually means a four-sided triangle. Tetra means four, head means shapes made of. And this is the strongest structure found in nature because it's very, very stable. All bonding is essentially tetrahedral. If you school-going kids in a village just put four marbles inside this, you can see three at the base, one at the top. There's a small orange bead inside. And they could simulate the molecular structure. CH4, 4 atoms in the hydrogen, and the 4 atoms. The tetrahedron between the and top. So instead of seeing a very inane picture, most textbooks don't have pictures, but they actually make it. And once you make these basic things, well, you could make a similar, you could make a joint of 4, you could make a joint of 6. Children's fingers are so nimble that they can make a joint of 12, which allows you enormous latitude to design. If you look at the best mechano in the world, strip it all the fabric, strip it of fabric, all the frills and fancies, what is the mechano anyway? There's some elements, there's some couplings. Here you have a joint of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12. So enormous space. This is what I did my first year. This is in 78. As a very young engineer, 25 years old. And I thought this is much better than design. You could make these basic shapes. Now this is a cube. This is a pyramid. You could put this on top, make a house. You could make an icosahedron. You could make an octahedron. And so this is something we are talking about humble stuff. Marches now the very. If there is a mechanical contraption which is made in roads and years bridges, this is the cycle that. So this gave me an enormous amount of joy. It's something worth doing. So this is my first book came out in 85, which was translated to which is very simple material. It had the smell of the earth. It had something of our own materials. Well, this gave me so much joy. Since then, I've been doing this for many, many years, thousands of schools, and I'd like to just demonstrate simple toys. Now, this is one of the simplest ones, just using a plastic straw and a broomstick. This is the karaka, this image with the coconut front, which the humblest house would have. So you just poke the broom in this leaf part of it with a half cut to the right and the half cut to the left. You can see both these arms can swivel. You make a triangle out of them, take some sticky tape and wrap it around like a bell. And this is, we use red tape because translated tape is not sure. That's it. It takes less than 2 minutes. And it's costs very little money. And if I just put this in this is amazing. It's fun. It's good contents. ये ऐसा प्रयोग है जो आदमी भूख के साथ आज़ादी निकल जाएगा। हम इसमें भूखते हैं इसमें आवाज़ की क्लिप निकलती रहेगी and we're going to just keep cutting these drawing, making it shorter and shorter. Something amazing happens. You're never going to forget this experiment in your life. It's as simple as that, nothing else. Now this is the smallest straw. Oh, this. So we started this small straw. You can make some very nice words. We make lots of fun. There are 31. I just write down my website, which is a mine of very good material for anyone who wants to become a good teacher. Today we have 5,500 videos in 18 languages on YouTube. We work at a room which is 400 square feet from a world, and we are the second largest YouTube channel out of India. 18 languages, all up by English. We get less money. The entire project, 5 people working on it, we get 15 lakh rupees, which is much less than what Professor Ramsey had. So this is what a kind of compassionate and very focused people can do. 5,000 millions of kids have seen it done. It's Mamta Didi. I don't know if you might be able to find the right partner in Bangla to have our videos, which is so sad because if our videos were in Bangla, they would help kids in Bangladesh, teachers in Bangladesh, or Pakistan. There are very, very. Punjab, just about 30 videos in Punjab, 800 which we made. So there is an appeal to all of you. Please help us because this is to enrich the public bounds, to enrich the public domain, help develop videos into other Indian region languages. We have 31 pumps on our website, which makes us the largest producer of pumps in the world. Designer pumps. I can tell you this. I can show you this picture. And this is the pump with which you can inflate the balloon. And it's a real pump. Right. And if I keep doing like this, we're going to pump the balloon. And we have a slogan that the best thing a child can do with the toy is to break. It's a very artistic slogan. It's to provoke people into, from the sleep. They must wake up. Children must dirty their hands. Children must break things. Why do children break things? Not because they're careless, because they're only curious cats left in this world. The rest of us are quite ready to mother and without any understanding or. But this is how it's made of. This is the old bicycle tube that this is discovered. These are film cans now. These have become archival material. If you find some of this along with all the jewelry, keep it in the locker. Because this is for the sake of history. These are very, very expensive. You can't get them anywhere. But the discovery was that film cans go very suddenly to old bicycle tubes. So you put two of them, one like this, and the middle part's the bellows. This is the inlet and this is the outlet. So that the air can go in. I just make a small flap. You can see the small flap. It can open. If I blow from here, air can pass. Can I suck it in? I can't. Just one way traffic, that's what a valve is. The equivalent would be a diode. That's just one way traffic. So this is extremely efficient valve. This is my suction valve. And you can be sick. A good toy is one which invites children. Pull me apart. That's a good toy. That's a really well-designed toy. And you can just take this apart. This is the other valve tube, and you can just see that. This is the delivery valve. And there's a stiff straw to take out. So children can put it back, dismantle it, and assemble it back again. And there are no glass parts, but you make a very, very efficient pump. If you can inflate the balloon with the pump, it's an ISO certified pump. There's no jokes about it. Right? It's a very high quality pump. And some of you are, Deepak gave a lecture by the entrepreneurs, put some cent over here, put that on it. If they have the imagination. Something which I need to show you. I did electrical engineering. We had 5 years of electrical engineering over here. It's much later in life that I discovered the beauty of electrical engineering. Much later, after I passed out the IIT, I discovered how to make a simple electric motor. Now that's a great challenge. And this is a 1.5 volt battery. It's a light battery, otherwise it will be black magic because you can't get output without an input. So this is a volt cycle tube, which is a brown rubber band. It's very difficult India has given the whole world divide. अगर आपके पास कुछ ना हो तो अपने दिमाग को खुश नहीं, कुछ आपको विकल्प मिलेगा इसका. These are two safety pins which are snug the plus and minus the battery, so this 1.5 volts can trust this. And this is all ferrite magnet, these are 50 paisa each. And this is 1 meter of insulated copper wire with which you make this coil. Now this is the simplest motor on earth. It takes less than 10 minutes to make like this. And it's an amazing tool. Imagine a 7th class second or 8th guy who's studying about electricity. It takes less than 10 minutes to make. If the battery is 5 rupees, it's not a rich man's game. But I made this about 25 years back. I made a film with the NCRT of this, but it doesn't appear in the NCRT books at all. Because the left hand of the NCRT doesn't know what the right hand is. These are God tools. And made a film on this. But very amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. How many places do we use the motor in daily life? We keep on to be an engineer. We appreciate science. A society which is progressive must appreciate science. The popular science, how things work. In a typical household, we use a motor in a dozen places. It's a motor which drives a pump, which pumps water to the overhead tank. The fan is a motor, the cooler is a motor, the mixer is a motor, the fridge is a motor, the washing machine is a motor, the air conditioner is a motor, or computer is a motorized drives. But no child ever makes a motor. What kind of education is this? It's a bloody mutilating education. We create engineers, but 2 years back, I must tell you, IITK must learn something from this experience. I was invited to the Shastra program in IIT Madras, where we have a great alumni in a solution to that. So some of my friends, it was for a lecture, but they said there's only one place worth seeing in IIT Madras. You must go and see the Center for Innovation. Now there are these 6 alumni over here, my batch, and several other batches. There was the batch of 83 in IIT Madras, and they decided that they must do something very substantial to the institute. Not just make a race back, or have more pensions for the faculty which are in better condition. Not that kind of a thing. Not to give them a first-rate kind of a sports complex. Many groups have done this. They said you must do something. The horrendous, this argument was set at the help of German collaboration. And they said that despite the German collaboration, the horrendous will be learned at any. So they set up something for us. There was a very progressive director at that time, and then this huge German labs, very deeply, very dark. So the director gave him half the pay. So we collected 80 lakh rupees that year, batch of 83. 40 lakhs, they painted that whole thing up, refurbished it, put a loud music system, water, a few mattresses, a lathe machine, a welding set, all the kind of paraphernalia which goes with tinkering. So it's like a tinker lab for kids. And who says it? And only 2 conditions, no faculty. These faculties are the biggest stumbling blocks. They can design, they can draw lines of paper, but they can't construct anything. Because they never dirty their hands in their eyes. No faculty, no security. The keys are there with the students. And I went there and I sat there for 4 hours. The kids, there were 2 boys who were actually trying to redesign the Tesla until 3 years back and actually making it. There would be loud music blaring, they would often go for tea, coffee. There was few mattresses, they would just go and sleep over there and get up at night. So this stupid notion that children learn only through mugging, through quizzes, there is no government of knowing over here, which was despair. And they said only 2 conditions that you must fulfill. Don't design for patents, or you can do the patents much later on, right? And the second condition is never let a faculty into this hall. Or a security. So the keys are with the students. Now, who says the students don't want to learn? They don't want to tinker. So we have put so many barriers in the learning. So this is an example. So this has been there for about 5 or 6 years. I don't think that IIT is ever learned any lesson. Even if you ever get a chance to visit IIT Madras, must visit the Center for Innovation. It's an amazing place. I will show you the water. And this was one step ahead. This is quite recent. Now, medical technology throws away a lot of junk. This happens to be a syringe. We have nothing to do with the nail part, but just the outer shell, the outer body of this. These are very strong magnets. These are neodymium magnets. They all come from China because very few people know that China has the largest reserves of rare earths that they're sitting put on it. So anywhere in the world you find neodymium magnets, probably made in China. You can buy them, you can buy them. But these are two magnets that are so powerful, it's very difficult to slide. Get them apart, so powerful. And they go into this barrel very easily, and they can move, slide. I just take a piece of rubber, which slide is copper. On the top, you see this insulated copper wire, 1,000 grams. 36 gauge, very thin copper is expensive, about 700 rupees a kilo. 1,000 grams, and it's insulated copper wire, otherwise steel short circuit. And both the ends you scrape, once you see the shiny copper, you just attach it in. Half an hour from start to end. In my city of Pune, where I come, about 10,000 bits actually made it. Once you shake the magnets, this is what you see. You are generating electricity. This is how electricity is generated every day. Imagine ever, there may come a day when a girl in the badlands of UP, where I done for us in the badlands of Bihar, some girl of class 8 would make a money like this. And it would be paradigm shift. I'm not going to consumer. I can produce it. Today I like LED, tomorrow I like my village. It gives you confidence, this kind of education. And all the Faraday's laws of induction, which you learn very theoretically just in passing exam, they start making sense to you now. You're able to make it to real life. Learning science is more or less thanks to me. No matter how many books you read and maybe you do a PhD or so. But unless you jump into water and validate your hands and legs, you're not going to learn how to swim. It's the need for science. You've got to do stuff. You've got to make things. This is very true about the Institute of Technology. We hardly do any basic sciences. But the Institute of Technology, people must be working their hands all the time. But there is a thing about something called a binary generator. I worked on the website and I was fighting my website about this, my $10. There's something called the multi-generator. You have 1,000 grams and LED, another 1,000 grams and LED, 4 of these, and you have a CD with 4 strong magnets, and they spin them across, and all 4 of them light up. This is been used in Marathi.